There we go.
Made a noise and it's not red.
Okay, but wait a minute, then I gotta do, all right, and the audio is okay here, okay.
It's a complicated maneuver there.
Get away from me, don't breathe on me. Oh, I see it. It's under you, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we're good, we're on, we're live.
Testing, testing. Okay, welcome to the, do I even have the agenda for today? I do not have it. I do?
I do, I gave
have
you a
that.
copy of it.
Here's a
Okay,
copy.
thank you.
Hey, who's on first?
Welcome to the April 7th Select Board meeting at 7 PM. Well, 7:02, but it's good. We have a few announcements, but before we have the announcements on here, I just want to show everybody at home. Can they see this? wanna show
No, because I
everybody
was
this.
sharing my screen, hold on a minute.
Unbelievable bag.
We really pushed Karen back a bit now.
I'm like, now you've thrown me off. I'm not
Hold
seeing
on.
it.
Karen,
Wait a minute,
Karen.
hold on.
Just, there's gonna be a button that says stop share.
Karen.
I know, why is it saying? Oh, there it goes.
Technical.
There we go. I was trying to
Look
share.
at this bag that Erin got for me, Ian Craig. It says, "Damn, I love this town." Is that unbelievable? This is
You pull to the right a little, there you go.
There you go.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Damn,
is.
I love this town. Anyway, I love the bag. Okay. Enough fun.
Can I share the screen now?
You can share
Maybe.
the screen now. Okay, first announcement. Oh, we wanted, well, that happened today, right?
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tomorrow. There's a legislative hearing tomorrow. It's in Boston. It's also on Zoom, correct?
Yes.
You can watch it. It's another House Ways and Means Committee meeting that I encourage people to go to. I don't know how many of us are going to go, if any of us are going to go, but it's a follow-up, I guess, to the one that we all went to in Amherst a few weeks ago. This is the second that you can go and listen to them debate funding for schools, and I encourage people to tune in and see what's going on, or go. It's a little bit closer than Amherst, and I don't know when the next one will be after, but we'll post it. Other than that, we're gonna jump right into open session items. Mike, you ready?
Yes, I,
Oh, another announcement?
Can I make a quick plug for Millis Beautification Day this Saturday from 9 to 12? Meet at the town hall. Bring your work gloves, a rake, good spirits, and be prepared to do a little bit of cleanup. We'll have routes that we can send people on, and it's a nice community-fueled day. So meet us at town hall Saturday.
And they supply the bags, right?
Yep,
They supply the bags and the little pennies, right, so you don't get killed?
yes.
Okay. So you can come out the
9
next
a.m.
year. 9 a.m. at Town Hall.
Yep.
Saturday. I'll be there. Unless I forget like last year.
We're gonna give it a shot.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
thank you, Madam Chair. And the Finance Director is here with us as well. I will ask her to speak and fill in a few of the items here as we go along. But first, I'd like to start with the annual town meeting warrant, the latest draft that you have in front of you. Since the last copy you received, I have filled in the budget numbers for most of the budget items on the warrant. I think it was new articles 18, 19, and 20. Just to touch upon that, because that's a change since you last met. We've added in the numbers. So for unemployment insurance, we're recommending that $40,736.55 goes into that fund. Article 19, we're recommending that the sum of $300,000 goes into the Chapter 41, Section 111F, Injury Leave Indemnity Fund. And we're recommending that $50,000 go to the other post-employment benefits fund. And based on today's numbers, we'll be recommending that $100,000 goes into the stabilization fund. So those are the numbers inserted into those articles that didn't have numbers at your last meeting.
So the one that, is that different than the one that was emailed out to
Yes.
us? It
It
seems
only
to be-
insofar
Yeah.
as the numbers, and I'm going to touch upon two recommended articles for the board's consideration this evening. A new Article 10 for $250,000 for road and sidewalk paving and reconstruction. We'd like to keep that momentum going, even though we have the state has promised to come in this season and repave all the most needy sections of Route 109. We're very excited about that, but there are other areas of town that they're not going to be paving that we're trying to keep that ball rolling. And the other article is Article 11, which is $300,000 to establish an article for unanticipated emergency building repairs in any municipal and school buildings. In working with both Karen and John Engler and Robbie, who's our custodian here, a lot of the issues that come up mid-year are unanticipated. They often have to do with either HVAC or drainage or a failure in one of our systems. And oftentimes, these failures really cannot wait until the next town meeting cycle to be addressed. So I know a lot of towns have similar articles to cover these unanticipated things that come up during the year. I know there's been a lot of talk about making sure our buildings are properly maintained and taken care of. This would allow us to have really a backstop for unanticipated items that come up that need to be addressed in a timely fashion. So we weren't sure until recently that we'd be able to fund such an article, but in reviewing the budgets with the finance director over the past week, we do feel that this article can be funded and would be important to the overall maintenance of the town's buildings.
Okay, if you feel like it, you could take one of those two words out, either unanticipated or emergency.
All right.
They seem to be, this is a Department of Redundancy Department. Is this
Can I just
my favorite saying?
interject
This
real
is the
quick?
Department of Redundancy Department. Go ahead.
Should I have maybe opened the warrant first?
Probably.
Okay.
Yes.
I move that we open the warrant for May 5th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to open the warrant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah, all of my staff have anticipated emergencies they budget for.
Anticipated emergencies.
Told them it's not an emergency.
Well, this is an unanticipated
I know.
emergency.
Okay, you
So
can
rather
pick
than an
one.
anticipated emergency.
You can pick one of those words.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
So those are really all the changes to the warrant. I did also, when I sent you information Friday, I did send you a copy of the draft, which is now Article 16, should the board decide to add those other two articles, which is a zoning article. That zoning article is approximately 14 pages long.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to kill too many trees, and since it's not a final, final item, we still are waiting for after tomorrow night's planning board meeting to finalize that, so, but it's regarding the special flood hazard district and an update of the maps, which is really required because of the federal government's new maps.
May I
So-
suggest we start at the top and work our way down and vote them as we go, if we endorse them or not?
Oh,
I like it.
okay.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so just Article 1,
Yep.
that is the total, but we will have I think there's only 3 items, 2 or 3 items that are in there, and we can have that information to you shortly. That was the last piece we're wrapping up. But that's the total anticipated.
Okay, 15,396.18,
Yes.
okay.
Do we want to make a motion on that?
So
What are we
we
doing?
don't
Mike?
usually do this, do we?
We recommended last time through.
Like all of them?
Yeah, each of them.
Because I thought the way we were addressing it was if we put it on, we're endorsing it unless we aren't, and then we discuss that one.
Well, which way is better? Because I think that we've been accused of not
Endorsing.
and not endorsing, just putting
Okay.
it all up there, not taking a stand on it. I mean, obviously, This is the least controversial.
I don't mind going, we
yeah.
only have this on the agenda.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I'm not
Yeah.
saying I mind going through all of them. I just wasn't sure if we really need a motion for each of them to say
I
that
think
we-
last time, because you approved all of them, that you made a motion to approve
At the
all
end?
articles
Okay.
as one fell swoop, but I could be
with the
forgetting.
exception of the petitioned article. last
Exactly,
time.
with the
Yeah.
petition. I think that's
Correct,
exactly
yeah.
what you did. You didn't do
So
them one
We
by
can do
one.
that
What I'd
if we need to.
recommend,
So
if
let's go
anyone,
through and just
if anyone
talk
has a
about it.
question of concern or one or two articles, you could just to hold it for a little further discussion, approve everything else, or if no one has
Fine.
a concern or question, you could approve all
I'm
of
good
it.
with Article
I
1.
like it.
Okay?
Okay,
Well, yeah,
so are we gonna,
Article 2.
Article 2? Mike, you're doing this, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is our basically general fund operating budget, overall operating budget, which we'll be getting to shortly, the details of which, but this is a standard article, the actual
Okay.
article itself.
Let's just hold that until we get the details. Yeah.
Okay,
Article 3 is the same, it's a standard article.
okay, but if people are listening right now and don't have this in front of them, should we talk a little bit more about?
Sure, let me back
it
up
being
then.
standard?
Let me
What it
quickly
actually
back up
is?
to Article 1. Article 1 is for unpaid bills. So
Yep.
those are bills for any number of reasons didn't get properly paid during the prior fiscal year. In order to pay those, once the year the financial year is closed out, it requires a special vote at a town meeting, requires a 4/5 vote
Yep.
to approve it. And for this year, we have, again, 15,396.
Right, we know the total.
And then Article 2, this is to help close out the current fiscal year, so this is for additional operating expenses if we need to do a slight rebalance of a few budget items at the end of the fiscal
Okay.
year.
We don't know this total.
Do we have anything yet that needs to be rebalanced?
Do you know,
No,
Jody?
I think the only thing that's gonna be listed, I don't know if we have anything in there, actually.
I have not reviewed that yet.
So,
Okay.
we're not aware of,
There's nothing that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we're unaware of any.
Brought to our attention as of now, but.
So at this point, it's a placeholder for something that may
something
arise in the
comes up in
future
the
between
next-
now and town meeting.
correct, correct.
Okay.
Yep,
So Article 3 is the big article. That is our operating budget for the town. So again, that one basically would be comprised of the budget that the board approves and ultimately the finance committee recommends. And again, we'll be talking about that a little more later this evening.
okay.
Article 4, 5, and 6 has to do with our enterprise funds in the town. Again, these are standard articles. This is their operating budgets for those enterprises for the fiscal year upcoming.
Okay, that's sewer, water, and stormwater.
Yes,
Okay, 4, 5, and 6, yep.
Yep.
And we'll have details on those when we get into the budget
Yes.
stuff. Okay, so they'll come
Okay.
later. Okay,
Um,
later tonight.
Yep,
Yeah.
Article 7, that's what we call our
Aha.
consent article.
I'm trying to share on the screen
Okay.
here.
That's our
Just struggling.
consent article. The first item has to do with the personnel plan.
yep,
The board reviewed all that at your last meeting and approved all those
Yep.
changes. The second item is a very standard item that's done every year for the Board of Health that allows them to appoint any of its members to another town office or position for which it has appointing authority. If they were to do that, that requires town meeting approval on an annual basis. Item 3 is authorized revolving funds.
Well, hold on one second, we look at number 2?
Sure.
What is that? I've never seen this.
Under Chapter 268A of the state laws, there are certain rules about if people can serve in more than one position and whether that's a conflict. And this allows some leeway of that,
But
It's-
only for the Board of Health,
only for the Board of Health.
why are they so special?
Well, I'm not prepared to go into the full history of it.
Because they are special.
Okay.
But this
It's
one
been there
has
for
been,
30 years.
this
Why
one
are
was
you
here when I
asking that?
arrived.
Saying that Board of Health people want to go work? in
Well,
other
I think it has to do with maybe serving in different types of inspection roles and other things that allows them
Okay.
to do certain types of things that
I like
normally
it.
wouldn't be allowed without this exemption.
Okay,
Item 3 under Article 7 is for the authorized revolving funds. These are all funds that those that are in control of these are allowed to spend in a fiscal year. I just want to touch upon 3 of them that have changed. One, the Animal Control Shelter Fund, we've increased that amount, which hadn't been adjusted in a long time. It'd be very rare that we use that much in funds, but the ACO has requested that we have that limit in there. The COA Program Services Fund, that's at 10,000, that's actually a new fund.
Excuse me.
And it will help the COA run their programs better there, so that's been
Great.
requested.
That's a great improvement. Yep.
And under the Board of Health Food Fund, a little further down, that's been requested to increase from 10,000 to 12,000.
And what is that for?
What is that? Board of Health again.
Yes.
Like, what are they funding food for? Do we know?
Do you have any? No.
Okay. That would be interesting.
Yes, yes. This has been in here for, again, since before I arrived, but they're asking for a $2,000 change.
Apparently 10,000 wasn't enough for the Board of Health Food Fund.
Christmas
12,000
party?
now.
No.
Yes.
No idea- We have no idea what that is.
I'd have to go back.
Yeah.
My focus has been in other areas, so I'm afraid, other than this particular
I'm
item.
looking
Sure,
at
put the poor guy on the
Yeah.
hot seat.
What are you looking? You looking for something? Well, they
Trying.
have a meeting right now. Should I go run back there and ask?
I'm sure they'll be happy to see you arrive.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. Item 4 is the Community Preservation Fund. Again, this is approved here every year. I do receive this through Camille on behalf of the Community Preservation Fund. This allows them to utilize these funds for certain purposes during the fiscal year.
This is for historic.
Yeah, the Community Preservation Act. that
It's
fund.
historic, open space, and housing.
Yes.
Interesting on the historic piece. I was on Facebook the other, whatever, I know it's terrible, but every now and then, some woman whose father worked at Herman Shoe was trying to donate an old sewing machine from Herman Shoe. And you're not getting it. And they put it together, Nate Maltinsky and his crew, and they got it.
Yeah.
And it's in the the old fire station.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
great.
cool.
So you can
That
go
is
see it.
really
Very
cool.
cool. So that's fun.
That is fun.
Go
Very
ahead.
good. All right, so Article 8 is unchanged since your last meeting. That is the capital article. This item is what is based on the recommendations of the Capital Planning Committee. The board has on here all the requests except one, which was the lowest rated item for a new car for the building department. So the total amount here is $437,183.
I'm glad that DPW got on there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Article 9, this is the authorization for the lease purchase of 2 police cruisers. This isn't a money article, this is simply an authorization to lease. The funds for this are within the police department's operating budget.
Okay.
Article 10, and we've done this a number of years when funds have allowed, is to transfer from free cash the sum of $250,000 for road and sidewalk paving and reconstruction. We've been able to do a lot of great work. Jim McKay and his department have worked hard to make best use of the funds that have been made available to improve the roads in town. And it's certainly something we hear a lot from citizens about, so it's certainly a priority. So we feel that there are sufficient funds available to fund that at that amount this year. In prior years, it's been $500,000, but $250 is the amount that
Well,
we
we
feel.
did 500,000 back in, we usually do 500,000 in November.
Yes,
So this will put 750,000 into that
this
this year.
fiscal year, yeah.
My only concern is with Tri-County hanging over our heads. Last year, we banked about 300-something thousand to pay for future years of Tri-County construction or stabilization. Since we've already put 500,000 into roads and we got the state doing it, did we fund roads last May also? I can't recall. I don't think we
No,
did.
I think it was the last 2 Novembers.
We
I
do it in
think.
November, and then we get the early bids. I think that's a decision for us that we want to decide. Do we need this 250 for Tri-County for the future to
Well,
avoid?
didn't you just tell me, who told me 11 more kids were going?
That's,
Well, 11 more, yeah.
For,
So that's a decision of the board, if you
Yeah.
want to act now, or you want to wait until the fall
Well, I
town
have a
meeting.
But I have a question. If we Do we typically only fund roads in November?
We have for the last several
We
years.
have for the
And
last
you-
several
We've done
years,
500.
500.
Was there a reason for another 250?
Well, if you choose not to use the 250, then that free cash would roll into the fall free cash. So you could approve an amount then. It's really a policy decision on timing.
I mean, I really like the idea of funding roads, but I also am concerned
future.
about the future.
Yeah.
And
We're all concerned about the future,
the future that's coming up in the future next.
that future.
Yeah, the redundancy department stuff.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I just wanted to clarify the Tri-County
Yeah.
comment that you made, Mr. Schultz. That represents the debt, the
Right.
new debt obligation. For those that aren't familiar, $343,075 is Millis's debt obligation
right.
as it relates to that construction project. So for the foreseeable future, that will be the payment required. So again, it's not necessarily driven by the students. It is, there is a per pupil debt number attached to that, which becomes that number. So I think the point is just to be made that since we did not secure a vote to be able to have excluded debt for this amount of money, what are we going to do from this
Right.
year and in the next few years to be able to proactively take advantage of, some resources and tuck them away so that we
Right.
This
don't.
would be a good one.
Yes, it would be a good one to do that with. So
When is
again,
that payment due, that first one?
Typically, I have all the details, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe it's twice a year.
Okay.
But it would be, it's not a cash flow issue, so we have the cash to be able to cover the payment within the next the beginning of the fiscal year.
Outside of everything that's
Out-
on here, we have the cash to cover it.
It's in the budget.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so what you're not gonna see is 343,000 as a part of the operating budget. We don't have it in the operating budget to roll it in. So you will see it as an expenditure when we start breaking down the details of Tri-County. You'll see the per pupil cost of tuition, and then you will see the debt portion. The cost of tuition will stay in the operating budget. You'll see this part in the operating budget, but it will be paid through a different funding source
Right.
other than the other revenue sources we'll talk about.
And I
So
know
the
that-
idea is that it's in there so that you can see it. It ends up being over $1 million, $1,168 is around the total that we'll be paying Tri-County for FY '26. 820,000 of that is the per pupil tuition, which was a pretty hefty increase from the student population in
And that was the
25.
11
That was the 11 pupils, over. This debt obligation is completely separate. And again, the way to pay for that is either roll it into your operating budget, which was not an option for us. You can pursue a debt exclusion, which would be a vote, to be able to secure, that much above and beyond 2.5 to be able to pay for it. And again, going back to what Mr. Schultz said, if we had the free cash this year, which we do, choosing to pay this particular debt with our free cash is really one of the only options that we have afforded to us without looking for a debt exclusion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and to be clear, because I know the finance committee talked about this, we're not talking about paying tuition. Tuition stays in the operating budget, always will, no way around it.
Okay.
But the debt is separate than the tuition.
Okay.
So the debt would be paid this year, FY '26,
Yes.
out of free cash that we already have in hand. I'm saying, we also banked, call it 300,000 last town meeting for tri-county tri-county debt, and this would be another 250 for tri-county debt, which,
Yeah, let's do that.
I would rather do that, because if you're locking it up if you do this, right?
right, you're
We
putting,
can't pull it back.
if you do this, you're building roads. And if we get hurt somehow with free cash not being high enough to cover tri-county next year, or something else, we have no safety net.
Okay.
So this gives us a safety net.
So,
Yeah, so
if
if
we
you-
just go along as though our precedent is that we fund this type of thing in November, then we look to fund it in November.
Right,
and
I'd still
not
try
in
to
the
put
spring.
500,000
Yeah.
in November. And I don't think, there's 2 points to it. First, we always do it in November, and secondly, this does give us cash if we hit a hiccup with free cash.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay?
So how are you changing the article?
We're
Removing
getting
it.
rid of it.
Putting it in my bank
Yeah.
account. Oh, never mind.
Can't even joke like that
I know,
anymore.
you really can't.
And for those inquiring minds, the Board of Health Food Fund is for when we have a health fair, or when there is a programming going on, or vaccine clinics, that type of thing.
Oh,
All right.
So there you go.
so people don't pass out.
Yes.
And it's a revolving fund, so we're not even funding it. They're
No.
just
No,
collecting
they're
money
just,
from other
that's-
they're just
it's
sources.
the
asking
limit
for authorization
to
up to
spend
spend
up
that
to.
amount. It doesn't mean that.
That's what it is.
They
We're not
already
giving
have,
them
they already have
12,000. Right.
funds.
Right.
This is just an authorization
Right.
to spend if they
So-
so choose.
Thank you to
Thank
Heather.
you.
Good information, thank you, Karen.
I knew you'd love that.
I love it. Okay, next.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. We will remove Article 10.
And we'll
Um,
increase the, whatever, stabilization by 250.
Okay.
Oh, so we'll go into
wanna-
stabilization.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
wanna
the
do
place
a
we can
vote
put it, otherwise
now
it
for
rolls
that?
into.
Pocket.
We could do it at the end.
Okay.
as we
All right.
do the-
I mean, you
Yeah,
can
would
let it
go into
roll, can't you?
stabilization?
Yeah, so we can actually just increase the amount of the tri-county debt payment as a special article. And
Okay.
that way, if we take the payment plus the other 250, it'll just essentially be a larger account. The first
And we
payment
pay it
plus the
down.
second, and we just use that account to pay the obligation in future years.
I like both, but I
Yeah.
think that that's
I
a
think
clever
that that's
use,
a
and I think
better-
it's clear. It makes a very
Yeah.
clear statement of what we're doing with it.
So,
But then that locks it up to that, don't we?
no, that's okay, though.
That's okay?
I think that's
yeah.
okay, because that's where we're gonna have an issue.
We could,
Right.
we could simply call it tri-county debt reserves or something like that. And that way, we can use that fund, and it will also give us a strategy to be able to start rolling a portion of the debt into the operating budget without it having to be 343,000 all at once.
We can phase it in however we
Exactly.
choose to, yeah. Maybe we hired her for a reason.
Now, do we,
You know what we need you for.
when we
Don't.
make these payments to Tri-County, we can just make the payment? We don't have to have an article?
No, it's in the operating budget, I believe.
It's in-
Yes.
Oh.
Right, so it is, we would have this article created, so once, operationally, without getting in too much into the weeds, once these votes are made,
Yeah.
we are able to take all of these sums of money, create a special account for them, special revenue fund, that are directly tied to this town meeting date and this article number. When we go to pay the bill, we simply refer to this particular account
Okay.
line item
Yep.
on the voucher,
Gotcha.
and then it comes directly out of there.
Okay, thank you.
Judy, you might as well just stay there.
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Thank you.
All right.
So we don't need an article there, or do we, from your perspective? Can this be rolled into the budget, or do we need a
No,
special article?
No, this will still stay as is. We will just delete Article 10 as you guys are suggesting,
Yeah.
and we will take that $250,000. And when we get further down, I'm not sure where you referenced the tri-county debt payment.
Well,
but it
that
would
was my
be-
question. I didn't see it
It would be a special
here.
article. I don't see it
Yeah, no,
on
it's
here,
not
but
an
yes.
article, it would be in
That's
the
why I
in the
was
budget.
confused.
It would be in the operational budget.
So we have to make an article for the,
No, it would be a special article.
I'm on the wrong.
for just this 250, we need a special article.
No,
Well, the 250 plus the 343,075, it'll be one article to authorize the debt payment.
so
That's this
it's
year.
not there. It's not in this, it's not in the warrant. And the article that she needs is not on the warrant either. So we need to put her article for this debt on, in place of Article 10, for instance.
Does that sound right? With the two amounts? or just the-
Yes, because
Oh, look
it's,
at you.
yes, because we're gonna take the payment amount out of there, but we also have that extra money in there so that we can refer to that if we need to pull from the extra. She said it way better than I
No,
just did
we'll
though.
we'll put together the
So like
updated article.
597,000 or something would go into
Mm-hmm.
it, and then
We'd pay the first year's payment out of that,
93, yeah.
and we're sort
Okay.
of building that reserve
All right,
to
so
be able to
we'll-
pay future debt payments.
We'll establish that through an article.
Yes.
So we can keep Article 10 there.
Article
if
10
you
will just
like.
become
It'll
Keep the
be
placeholder, and it
modified.
can just be
So
revised.
we'll have a revised article there. for-
And then you'll just transfer money this year from that to the budget to cover the budget.
Okay.
we'll pay-
Correct.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
pay their
perfect.
assessment
And-
from the
yeah.
article.
Yeah.
We won't actually transfer it into the
Right, right,
budget,
right,
but the idea is, yes, we will be able to fund that portion. Yep.
All right. Madam Chair, Article 11 is to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $300,000 for unanticipated building repairs to all municipal and school buildings.
You picked the right word.
So I just want to talk about this a little bit. In speaking with the finance director as well as our facilities director. This creates a financial mechanism that we're able to deal with unanticipated things that come up in our buildings. Specifically, the buildings we're probably most concerned about are this building and the middle high school. They're both older buildings that have a lot of issues with HVAC, occasional leaks, other issues that come up. Some of these issues simply can't wait for a full annual town meeting cycle to be addressed. And having this account is really be a great way to make sure we can address issues quickly as they come up and keep our buildings in best shape as possible. So we are recommending this article.
Yeah, I just have one point, and I'm in favor of it. I like the plan for unanticipated emergencies. But no, I like to have a reserve for emergencies. But I am slightly concerned about how it's perceived with the capital planning committee. We're now
Encroaching?
circumventing. But only for unanticipated or emergency repairs.
Right.
So
Right.
if we're careful how we use it, I mean, if this
Yes,
starts
this isn't for a
becoming,
project.
if this starts
No,
becoming the
no.
de facto way we're like
Yeah.
fixing the stairs or something, that's gonna become an issue.
No, that's,
But if this is, we have no heat in the building, this is not an issue, okay?
yeah, this is not a project. To
Not
me,
big
this is a
projects,
funding
right?
mechanism to
I
address.
like that you,
Yeah, and I
that
would-
you're in, that you don't want to step on anyone's toes, because usually you're stomping all over the place.
I'm on that committee and I
It's gonna
respect
be- I was gonna say, it's its own toes, Ellen.
it's my own toes. I don't like doing that.
Truth comes
I
out.
would say also that this is arguably anything that would fall off the scale of it being considered a capital project. So
Right.
nothing, something that would not meet the $25,000 in useful
Yeah.
life thresholds. And speaking with the assistant town administrator as well, the account that previously sat in the budget typically became sort of a catch-all for all of the
Yeah.
other departments that something came up and we don't have any money to, I don't know, fix a septic or do something, and we couldn't plan for it through capital. So in speaking with the town administrator, we put our heads together and said, well, what makes sense to be able to address some of these things, not just with the town and town buildings, but on the school side as well, where they may run into situations, especially given the condition of the
I like
school,
it.
so.
Yeah, I like
everything
it too. I
about
just want to make sure we're aware
Yep.
of what we could be
Yeah.
stepping into and ready
Yeah.
to address it.
Yep,
So the next.
And I'm sorry, and this would be funded once, and this fund could last for
This-
multiple years.
This is just a
Absolutely.
It's not
one-time,
billing.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
one-time funding.
Or it could be gone in a year.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, and it systematically may work,
Yeah.
and
It's
we
already
fund it
spent,
at
right.
$50,000
Yeah,
each year, or
Yeah.
who knows, right, depending upon the things.
Well, we
that
just
Exactly.
had a repair recently, it was $14,000 for one
Unanticipated,
repair,
yeah.
unanticipated. Where are you gonna take it from?
Yeah.
Like you said, it depletes your budget if you take it out of your regular budget.
Yeah.
Anyway, move on.
So, Madam Chair, Article 12 is unchanged since your last meeting. This is the article having to do with certain tax exemptions for means-tested senior citizens for school building projects.
yep.
So the article outlines the different requirements and steps as part of that. Generally, just to hit upon a couple of the key points, for any future school project, this would allow, again, folks that basically would already qualify for the senior circuit breaker tax credit to be able to apply on an annual basis for a waiver. Again, so we wouldn't expect a large amount of people to be on this. These are only people that have, again, lesser assets, lesser income, and they'd be able to apply for this waiver, and the difference would be spread out among the rest of the taxpayers.
Right. Now, this would have to be applied for every year, correct?
Yes, on an annual basis.
And yeah, the difference has to be, so it's going to town meeting because if it passes, whatever that payment would have been is going to be spread against the rest of the population. So everybody gets to vote on it.
And what is it called?
I like it.
This is an act authorizing the town of Millis to establish a means-tested senior citizen property tax exemption for school building construction projects.
But it's for people, seniors who are eligible for what?
Senior circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker tax credit, and that is a means-tested tax credit. So if they qualify for that, then they have the opportunity to apply for this waiver.
Yeah, one question on it before we go, Joyce. Holliston amended theirs to put in they had to be residents of Hopkinton, starts with an H.
I know.
Amended it to, they had to be a resident of the town for a certain
Yeah.
number
Yeah,
of
I
years.
think that's in,
Is that in here?
I believe
didn't
it is.
see it. I skimmed it quickly. Oh, there it is. I
Yeah.
see it. I see. You slipped it in the middle. You didn't put it at the bottom.
10
Okay.
consecutive
10
years.
10 consecutive years.
Yeah, you can't move in yesterday, get your exemption, and move out tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're stuck with us for 10 years, Joyce.
The senior circuit breaker tax credit, that's the one that's on our federal tax, correct? Or is that something that's available for just the town
think it's-
residents for when, I know that there's a circuit breaker. Is it state or is it federal?
It's state.
It is
I believe
state.
circuit breaker is
Okay.
state.
And would this would be also people who are eligible for the work program generally?
No,
No.
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 No?
Because we don't have the same means-tested requirements there.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay, so as long as they meet the circuit breaker,
Yes, that's really the
that's the
benchmark.
threat, okay.
Yeah.
And 10 years.
And they'd have to have been a resident of town
Yeah.
for 10 consecutive years, yeah.
You got
I'll
it?
be
Yeah,
asking more
I've got
questions, I'm
information on
sure.
it for just a second. I just Googled it. For 2024, the last year I could find, it was, well, they're eligible for it at 72 for let's check this. I don't know if this
Yeah.
is the right number. That
I was
seems
gonna
high.
just mention to the office that would handle these exemptions is the assessor's office.
Okay.
So they handle all the circuit breaker, means
Right.
tested exemptions, abatements, anything like that. So if there are any seniors that are viewing this meeting or folks that you talk to, definitely our principal assessor and the team down there will be able to help answer some of these questions as well.
Let's
Would they-
confirm those numbers, what they are too, so we can have something to talk about on that.
Right, yeah, okay. And that, yeah, the circuit numbers you're referring to.
Yeah.
Minimum for a single and
Yeah.
then minimum for married. Okay,
We'll get more.
yeah.
Yeah, conceptually, I mean, I believe public education is for the good of the public and everybody should participate in it. But I certainly understand the impact that a giant project like a school could have on people on a very limited income. So I don't like conceptually the idea, but I think practically it's a good solution to help those that are in dire need of assistance on it.
Okay, and we can get those numbers.
Yeah, we'll get the numbers
Yeah,
for
we'll,
what the
we'll
qualification is.
check with the assessor's office and work
Yeah.
on getting those numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Madam Chair, the next article is Article 13, and this is for the request petition for a special act to amend Millis's Home Rule Charter by changing the town clerk position from elected to appointed. And this week, the board, at your last meeting, also approved a ballot question to go on the annual town election ballot.
Mike, I have a question.
You have a lot of questions.
I do.
That's good.
I like it.
Okay, good. So Articles 12 and 13 both say special act. Are they both the same kind of special act?
It's the same general process, yes.
So if somebody were to stand up on town meeting floor and vehemently, if I even said that right, vehemently go against the fact that it's a special act, then they probably would have gone after the senior tax exemptions as well.
A little different, in my opinion, because this Article 13 is a charter change.
Article 12 is not.
Is not. Article I'm correct in that, right? This is,
Yeah, Article
Yeah.
13 seeks to change a component of the town's charter.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
And the person who would vehemently go after that, we just need to say repeatedly, it is going to be followed by an election.
Right.
So it's not
Right.
going to just be the legislature making the.
Which our last one was going to be followed by an election also, wasn't it?
No.
No.
It wasn't?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was the problem. That was
I
the
see.
sticking point.
okay,
And so this is
gotcha.
the,
Although our town council was
Yes.
adamant about,
The legality of it, right. I
it's
remember this.
absolutely
We had-
legal to do it with just the special
it's-
act, but historically it's been more,
Some people might think it's
circumventing the will of the
Right.
town, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, this is belt and suspenders. Nobody's going to
Yeah.
get upset. We can't do it without the legislature doing their bit. We could do it without the voters doing their bit, but let's go ahead and do both bits.
Okay.
Okay?
Any more questions, Eric?
No, I'm good for
That's
now.
a very good question.
Yes.
Very good question.
Keep up the good
I'm
work.
gonna write your questions.
I want you to ask where each parcel is in Article 15. I don't want Karen to bring up Google Earth and
Yes,
point at
yes.
them.
Yeah, all night?
Right.
So, Madam Chair, Article 14, the next article, that would
Yep. Craig's
formally
article.
establish a tri-board committee within the town's general bylaws. This was a recommendation of the Department of Revenue's recommendations as part of their management review. And for those that haven't heard this before, it basically sets out that there shall be a permanent tri-board committee which shall be comprised of the select board, the school committee, and the finance committee. The tri-board shall meet at least 4 times per year to discuss the financial and operational status of the town, to plan and prepare for the future year's operational and capital budgets, to address short and long-term planning efforts, and to focus on other areas of concern as may be related to the effective operation of municipal and school services.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm speaking to Joyce again, if this comes up at the Finance Committee, because you're our liaison. We didn't pick quarterly because it might take 2 meetings for a town 2 meetings per town meeting, so we purposely didn't go quarterly, so.
Thank you.
And we need to book one of these meetings soon.
No, I think that's smart not doing
Yeah.
it quarterly.
Good, take that argument at the,
No, I do. I
Yeah.
think it's smart not doing it quarterly.
and we should,
If you
yeah,
need it for, say, in April, I'm not getting up, my
Yeah.
voice is loud enough. If you need, 3 of them in March, April,
Yeah.
and do 3 then,
absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Madam Chair, Article
We're not compelled.
15.
Not that you were asking my permission.
No, I,
Article 15, next article is unchanged. This is to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the following listed town-owned properties from the Select Board for general municipal purposes to the Select Board for disposition. This would essentially authorize the Select Board to take action on the parcels, to sell them or otherwise dispose of the parcels, to get them back on the tax rolls. And most of the properties here listed are under 1/4 of an acre. We have reviewed them and determined that these properties do not serve any useful municipal purposes, and we
Yep.
do not see in the future that they will.
No, this is good. This is good because we don't have to wait for every town meeting if somebody comes to us for one teeny tiny piece. We have the authority, one clean sweep.
Once again, I have a question about these, because I will be covering these, and I did at last town meeting. Are these all parcels that are abutted by other residents?
Many of them are, probably most of them, yeah,
Many of them are butted by each other.
yeah.
yes.
Right, but,
So there's
Teeny
clumps of
tiny.
articles.
but there's no road access to them, so
Oh, no,
that's
there
why.
are, there are some,
Some.
but they have, a lot of them, because of the size, have limitations
Yeah.
as what can be done with them. But you never know if someone has an interest in a piece of property for something they can utilize it with, it may be in abutting their personal property. And some of these may never sell.
Right.
Just because no one will be interested in them. But this allows the board the opportunity, should it come up, to be able to sell them and get them back on the tax rolls and generate a little bit of revenue in the process.
Well, I know that the last town meeting, we had parcels that were, but we didn't put a price tag on them.
Well, there's no price
There's no
tag on
price
these.
tag on these
That's just
either.
their
Well, no,
assessed value.
we didn't
Yeah.
put even an assessed
Yeah.
value, though, on those. Did we end up selling those parcels?
We are in the middle of that process right now,
Okay,
yeah.
So
put a bid
the
in
two
as we
people that came to us to ask about them, 2 abutters, the process is they come, they ask, we took those 2 pieces and went to town meeting, got the approval of the town to be able, and now we've put them out
Yep.
to bid,
Yes.
and they are asked to bid if they're still interested. whether you use these assessed values as a starting point or not, I don't know.
Right,
Yeah.
I'd bid $1, but that's just me.
right.
These
It's
are just-
actually out there, they're advertised on the website, if someone
You
is
could take one,
interested.
Joyce.
Yeah.
$2, you can outbid me.
I guess
Yours.
it's only the two people who
Going-
are interested are gonna bid on them, but.
Right, no, I was just curious as to whether or not the parcels that were mentioned last meeting, which I presented, which didn't have a approximate assessed
Right.
value, if they in fact did go, and
They're-
if they've come into the budget.
They're in the process, and I would expect, you know, that hopefully we'll have them sold but before the end of this fiscal year.
Great, and the ones that are listed now, are any of these buildable, is this, any of this
No.
buildable land?
Well,
Not
we-
alone,
We
no.
cannot,
By
we
itself.
cannot guarantee.
right, we cannot-
We don't,
cannot
no
say.
warranties, guarantees on the property, so, you know, we can't guarantee that they'll get a variance, that there'll be any zoning. That's really at the risk of the
Most are
buyer.
Teeny tiny.
Okay, just because I will get asked questions.
Yep.
All right, Madam Chair, Article 16 is to amend Section 11 of the Special Flood Hazard District of the zoning bylaws to be in compliance with the FEMA flood insurance rate maps. So it's not actually in your document here. This,
No, but this is it, right?
this is it.
The
It's,
planning board?
Yeah.
yeah, it's 14 pages long, the last one that was sent to me. The planning board will be doing its final action on them, on this.
So you have it here as 15, but it got changed?
It got changed, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will have that final one by Wednesday. And usually, when the planning board supplies them to me, I just insert them as provided. Article 17 is another zoning. To see if the town will vote to amend the Millis zoning bylaws as most recently amended by replacing the definition of accessory family unit with accessory dwelling unit, deleting section 13.0 accessory family unit, and by adding a new section with respect to accessory dwelling units and revising table 1. So basically, this is in response to the MBTA law, which part of that also allowed by right accessory dwelling units. So this is, we really need to do this in order to make sure our bylaws were in
Yeah.
conformance with state law.
Just check on that, section 13.0, that's an O. Should
Okay.
it be a 0? That's a capital O, right? 0 is small, is,
Oh, maybe it should,
you
yeah,
know what I'm
maybe,
saying?
maybe that should be a 0.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm thinking it's a 0, but it might be an O.
all right,
Maybe
we'll
there's
check
a
on
P
that.
and an M and an N, I don't know.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on the ADU article?
Nope.
Article 18, the next several articles are funding articles for different funds that the town has. Article 18 is to transfer the sum of $40,736.55 to the unemployment insurance fund. Again, we, as municipalities, we are self-insured, so we need to keep funds set aside to cover costs related to unemployment. Article 19 is to transfer the sum of $300,000 to the Chapter 41, Section 111F Injury Leave Indemnity Fund.
What's the balance on that right now? Yeah.
It's about $150,000. Typically, in a fiscal year, we'll spend about upwards of $260,000 net of reimbursements. So we like to keep around $300,000 in that account.
Yeah, that's my thought. I agree with the 300,000. My question is, do we put 150 in to top it off, or whatever it takes to bring it to 300? Or do we want to move it to 450? Because we're putting another 300,000 in it, and there's 150 in it today. And if you're telling me
Yeah, that'll
we'll
be
exhaust that
exhausted.
before the end of the year,
Most of it will be exhausted
okay,
before the end of the year.
then I'm okay with the
Yep.
300. I like to keep 300-ish.
Yes.
I don't think we
Yep.
need to go beyond that, yeah.
All right, next article is Article 20. This is to transfer from available funds a sum of $50,000 to the other post-employment benefits fund. I think everyone is
Yeah.
speed on that. We do try to put at least $50,000 into that fund every year. And then Article 21 is to transfer from available funds a sum of money to the stabilization fund. We do have an updated What was the, that was the,
2.8
oh, we have 2.8 million in it currently.
in there now, which is in excess of about $400,000 of our target of 5% of our operation.
And are we putting more money in this year, or do we?
Yes.
We were gonna target it, putting $100,000 into
Okay,
that.
Yeah, 100,000.
I'm okay with, I like putting money in stabilization.
You like it?
I do.
All right, well, you like it.
All right.
I like this new thing we're doing with the Tri-County better, but I like putting money into this.
So that is the warrant.
Do we want to go through and assign them out as well?
That's-
I'm okay
that's
with
up to the
that.
board.
Sure. Okay.
I do not want the one with 200 properties. Sorry,
Well, I'll take
Joyce,
the
you're on your own.
properties, But we're starting at the beginning, right?
All right, we'll start at the beginning.
Can I still?
So how many
Yeah.
articles are there, people?
There's 21,
21.
so 7 each.
Seven. All right.
All right,
Number one.
I'll take one.
Okay, so Erin. Okay, number two,
I can take that too.
Erin, I like blocks.
And then Craig will take number 3.
Okay.
So much for the blocks.
I can do 3, 4, 5,
In 6?
and 6.
Yeah, that's
There's a
fine.
block for you. They're all budget related.
I like it.
All right, and then the consent agenda, either I can take it or you can take it,
You
Ellen.
can take it.
All right, I'll take it. Capital items, Craig, do you want that?
Yeah, I'll take
Because
that.
it's
I'm on the
your
committee.
thing.
Hold on, where are we?
8.
8?
Geez, we're practically running out of time here.
Step it up, Ellen.
What?
I said, you gotta step it up, Ellen.
I'm working on it.
9, authorize the 2 new police
Yeah,
cruisers.
That's a nothing, I'll take it.
Okay.
I like the nothings. 9,
And then 10, Craig?
That's the Tri-County now.
Yeah.
oh, 10,
Yeah, 10's Tri-County.
Yeah, you have 9, Ellen.
right.
Yep,
I'll take that because I don't see there's anything else that is,
okay.
Hold on, I want to write this down, Crown County, okay. I
Right.
like number 11. I'll take
Okay.
it.
That's you.
All right.
That's a new one.
Do you want to take 12 too?
What is it?
Senior
senior.
tax.
Yes, I like 12.
Changing the
clerk.
position of town clerk from elected to appointed. Who wants it?
I don't mind.
Oh,
I don't mind either.
Oh, do you want it?
I'm not saying I want it, but I'm saying I don't mind.
I mind.
You
No,
mind?
no,
Do you
no,
want it?
No, I don't.
You don't want it?
I don't,
I'll take it.
All right.
Go ahead, Ellen.
I don't
Ellen
mind
can have it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'll speak on it. if
Yeah.
you have a whatever.
How about the tri-board meetings? You want it, Ellen?
I don't care.
I think that'd be good.
Oh, well,
for
you
the
want
chair.
town-owned land too, so let's see how many you're
I'll
at.
take the land.
So hold on, Ellen's at
Who's taking
Ellen
my
has
vote?
1, 2,
3, 4,
3.
5,
Ellen has
6.
5.
Yep,
Am I
take
taking
tri-board.
number
Yep,
Gives her 6.
so
four?
she
I
has
have
6.
9. Wait a minute.
You have
You got
9,
1, 2, 3,
11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Yeah. It's a nice block.
4, 5, 6.
Yep,
Yep.
So I still need one
Erin, you
more.
have 3.
I have 3, and Craig has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I've got 6.
So Ellen and
you
Craig
wanna
need
take-
1 more, and then
Erin,
I
you
need the
wanna take
rest.
16?
I can take 16, I guess. Sure, why not?
Nobody's gonna.
Accessory dwelling units, I guess I can take that too.
Do you understand it?
I think it's like granny pods.
But for anybody.
Yeah.
Granny pods. I love that. Never heard that
My
before.
son's already offered to build one for us if he can have the house.
I bet he has.
Yeah, I
So
can
that's
take that.
you?
Yes.
Okay.
Who wants 18,
The rest are just kinda-
19?
So you and Craig each need 1 more, and I need 2 more. So which one do you want from down here?
I'll take OPEB. I love OPEB.
OPEB, okay, so Craig has 20, yep. Which one do you want, Ellen?
I don't understand any of them.
You don't? Okay, why don't you take stabilization? You understand that one, right?
Sure.
Okay.
That's just parking money.
Okay,
Okay, I
savings.
like, that's a happy
Yeah,
one.
savings account.
All right, and so
So Erin,
Ellen,
you taking 18 and 19?
Yep,
there you go.
All right, let's do a quick run through. Not that I don't trust all of you for dumping terrible ones on me.
7. I've got 7 for Aaron.
all right, you want to go through, you want to write initials on that page?
Yeah, I got them all.
On
You
a-
got them?
Can't do
Okay.
initials.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
E
ER and
and
EU, it's okay,
Put an
Okay.
E.
yeah. All right.
No, I didn't do it on the, on the.
All right,
front
so
page.
unpaid bills, do you want to do it on the front page now?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Ellen, do you
So-
want mine?
Did you do the front page? Well,
You
just
wanna
read
read
them
what I
out.
We'll read it
Yeah.
out.
Wanna
Yeah.
read them out?
All right, number one, unpaid bills is me.
Yep,
Number two is me.
keep going.
3 through 6 is Craig.
Yep,
7 is me.
yep,
8 is Craig.
yep,
9 is you.
yep.
10 is Craig. 11 through 15 is you.
Okay,
16 is me.
yep,
17,
Should
18, and 19 is me.
yep.
20 is Craig, and 21 is you.
That's what I had.
Wait a minute, you're, Aaron, you're 16, 17, 18, 19?
Yep,
And 21 is me.
yes.
So, let's see.
Aaron, you have 8.
1, 2,
No, Craig has 8.
No, you have 8 articles.
Oh, 8 of them? Hold
I
on.
don't get 8.
2, 3, 4,
You have
5,
four.
6.
4, 5, 6,
Craig
7.
has 7.
I have 7. I have 7.
Aaron has 1,
I think we got 7 across the board.
You have 1,
4,
2,
5, 6.
Aaron. 1, 2, 7.
No, she has 7.
Yeah, she has
Yeah, we've
7.
all got
Yeah,
7.
I have 1,
Everyone
2,
has 7.
7, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Who has 9? Ellen?
Ellen,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I like it.
All right,
Now let's
so,
get on to the budget.
well, wait, so we
Yeah.
have to say that we endorse
Yeah.
these?
Why don't we
Yeah.
do the budget, because that's an article,
Oh,
that's an article in the warrant, the budget.
and then we'll,
Vote that we endorse the, no, we'll just say, with the change of to roads to Tri-County, we
Yeah.
endorse the,
all right, so we'll talk
Warrant.
about the budget first and keep the warrant open?
That's fine. You
Okay,
can take all your votes
Yeah,
at the
just
end.
leave it open.
Yeah.
all right,
yeah. I think with
Geez, sorry.
the only change is the Tri-County, roads become Tri-County.
yeah.
Go ahead, Joyce.
Someone from the audience of.
You want to
World
stand
of-
up, Joyce?
Someone from the audience from the world of make-believe just requested that the chair speak into the microphone because you're not being heard. If, when you lean forward, you're heard.
Okay. I will do that.
Just pull it closer.
All
All right, so are we ready to move on to the budget?
Yep.
We are.
We are.
All right, thank you. So, I did send you late this afternoon. I apologize for the late aspect of this, but I sent you my recommendations for the FY '26 annual town budget, as well as a summary sheet showing the revenue expenditure calculations that were used to get there, and a chart showing the breakdown of free cash, all of which our finance director put together this afternoon after we concluded our discussions. So on the expenditure side of the ledger, my recommended budget does meet the school committee's request for a level service budget.
And that's the 6% that we're working on.
That is at, yes, so
So this sheet.
plus, for a level service budget, plus $72,342 for the schools, for a total of a 6% budget increase to the school department.
And this is what we've been doing, right? Did we do that last year?
Well, the standard is 4%.
I know.
But because of the budget stresses that we've been under, we were looking to see what the recurring revenues could support, and we felt a 6% increase was what could be supported at this point.
Right.
Sounds good.
You good, Craig?
Yeah.
On the municipal side, with a 6% increase, we were able to budget for one additional full-time highway laborer for the DPW. So we've also have included an additional 5 hours per week for the IT director and an additional 2.5 hours per week for the recreation director to bring them in line with all of the department heads in the SCIU. And I'm recommending that an additional firefighter be added to the fire department through the use of ambulance receipts. Happily, we were able to successfully fund the new Human Resources Department. This department will consist, as we spoke of earlier, of a full-time HR director, a full-time HR generalist at the school department, an upgrade of the current benefits administrator to an HR generalist for municipal departments, And we'll add an 18-hour-per-week department assistant to allow the current benefits coordinator to fully carry out her new duties and focus on her new role as a HR generalist. So that's the budget end, that's the highlights of the overview of the budget. From a revenue perspective, just a few highlights. Our new growth estimates have declined from prior fiscal years. Right now, we are
I'm sorry, the
estimating.
new growth, is that on a sheet anywhere out here, or is it?
No, that was the email I sent. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So I'll just write it down here at the bottom,
Yes.
new growth.
So new growth, we're estimating $600,000 in new growth, which is down from our estimate of $950,000 in FY '25.
And the actual was,
The actual was 1.1 million.
yeah.
So we hoping for 800?
Our estimate from
Hoping, not
FY
planning.
'25, the current fiscal year for new growth, was $950,000. And our actual came in about one.
For 25.
For '25, not '26, the current fiscal year. So, and the actual came in right around 1.1.
Why are you
Why
looking
you
like that? Why is she looking like that?
Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm either tired or confused. No, so FY '25, new growth came in at 955, 667. That was what we captured for new
Okay,
growth in
it was-
FY '25.
955.
The estimate
Was seven-
was 750.
Okay. I knew it was
All
higher
right.
than estimate, but I wasn't.
Correct.
I just had my
So
years wrong.
when we
750.
hit the $1 million mark, that
Yeah.
was 2 years ago
Oh,
in
I'm thinking
FY
back
'23.
an
So
extra
you're
year.
thinking back to that.
Yes.
Just want to
I'm
clarify.
confused and tired.
Time
That's okay.
time flies when you're having
Thank you for
fun,
that.
as they
So that
say.
means,
So this is.
That means this is a decline from
300.
750
Well, no,
down
from
to,
9-something. from-
for the
Right, so-
actuals.
Right, so we estimated that our new growth based on known construction projects that are anticipated to be completed by June 30th of this year, plus an estimate of what we anticipate for the next 6 months. That number we felt comfortable projecting at $600,000 for new growth for this year.
and if our projections hold, it should come in at 8.
I mean, that would be
Hopefully,
fantastic.
Just saying.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean,
Try to be at least
our
a little
goal
conservative
Yeah.
in
is
those
to be
numbers.
able to
I
be
know.
within $150,000 of our actual projected new growth. Again, you have to just be careful here so that you're not overestimating.
Right.
So we do feel comfortable with that being where we're at.
And we went a little bit more, not aggressive, but we went a little bit higher on some of our
Local
local
receipts,
receipts.
yes.
So I don't want to go up on
Yep.
both, you know, yeah.
The second item I wanted to point out on revenue is local receipts. Over the past 5 to 6 years, we've been fairly conservative in our local receipt estimates. This has helped lead to our fairly high free cash numbers during that period. However, in FY '26, in order to meet the needs of the growing Millis community, we are being a little more aggressive in our local receipt estimates. Therefore, we do expect that free cash in FY '27 will be a bit lower than the prior years, more closer to the 1 million to 1.5 range. So that's the target at this point. So just wanted to make the board aware of that.
What are we forecasting for local receipts in total?
About 2.9 million.
And I know we don't have FY '25 closed, but FY '24 was it, what was it?
So we did a lot of analysis over the last 5 years, the last 10 years, understanding that, and this is indirectly answering your
Right.
question, Mr. Schultz, I'll get there. But in order to get a realistic number to project this year, to feel comfortable where we have to balance not just, making sure that we're not over-projecting receipts, but obviously projecting enough revenue to address the critical needs of the town and the school. So what we were able to do is use some fundamental analysis around 10-year and 5-year look-back periods, and then take a percentage of those averages and say, let's fund local receipts at this amount is what we'd be comfortable with, and then we can kind of back into each category of which those receipts would come in. So to answer your question, last year, we were in the low millions in terms of receipts. But you also understand that we ended up with 3.475
We
million in free cash.
estimated low millions.
Yes, we estimated just over $1 million
Yeah.
in local receipts last year. This year, we're bumping that number up quite a bit to about 2.9 million.
We estimated in the low million. What did it come in at?
For our local receipts,
Yeah.
shoot,
We
last
don't
year.
have them in yet for 25.
No, not for
No, but
25,
For
just for
24,
24.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been averaging, again, I'll tell you I have the
Yeah.
printout at my desk, sorry. But we've been averaging, over the past 5 years, they've been elevated only because of HCA
Yeah.
funding. But we've been averaging anywhere from 2.5 to $3 million in local receipts.
Right. And,
So what we ended up doing is we took a 5-year look back, a 10-year look back, and I believe where we landed was at about 80% of the 5-year average, so that we can have a reasonable number. We want to still leave ourselves some room, but if we looked at the 5-year average and took a percentage of that, we felt comfortable projecting in that way.
Okay, can you tell everybody what local receipts are?
Absolutely. There are 3 components of revenue that come into a town. One is through taxation and raised through the levy. We've talked about that a little bit, but it's your taxes, it's your new growth, and it's any taxes, new growth, and Proposition 2.5. Any increases in that becomes the amount that's raised through taxation. That's Section 1, or Bucket 1. The second bucket is through state aid. State aid is the money that we get through either federally or state-funded programs, and it's usually net of charges. So we'll get several millions of dollars through the state, and then they offset it with certain charges, so we have a net amount from there. 2 of those revenue sources we don't really control. They're pretty baked in, and we don't have certainly control over our state and federal receipts. The third area that we look at is local receipts, which happen to be, if we have shared service agreements with other towns, we can project
do.
those contract costs in guaranteed money, if you will. We look at motor vehicle excise taxes, which is a big component of our local receipts. Meals taxes, because we have a local option here in Millis, which a percentage of your meals tax goes to the community.
Do you know what the
Recreation
percent
fees.
is?
It's usually, I'm not sure with Millis, but it's usually 1% or 1.5%.
So eat
Sometimes there's
local,
another.
Is that what we
Yeah.
should be telling
Yep,
people?
eat out.
Eat local.
Eat local. But those are several examples of revenues. There's also a cannabis impact fee, not to be confused with HCA, but there's a local option for that as well. And then several other categories that get bucketed in certain
I know what
categories
that is.
per
That's
the Department of
3%.
Revenue.
The cannabis
Yes,
is 3%.
that is
3%,
3%.
yeah.
So
That is
get
true.
your weed local.
Yep.
Can I not say that?
you can't.
I'm saying, okay.
But yeah, certainly local receipts are another area where towns get money. And then the last piece is any transfers in from our own revenues that might be housed in a special fund. For example, we just talked a little bit about Tri-County and saving some money for that. We may, in an operational budget year, take money from special revenue funds to help fund the operating budget, which is completely allowable to do. So again, really, just to kind of summarize, we have the local taxation, what's raised through property taxes and personal property taxes. We have state aid that comes directly from the state. We have local receipts that come from some of those categories just described. And then if we can be creative around sourcing some of our own revenues, through special savings accounts and such, special revenue funds, then we're able to offset the budget in that way as well.
And if you think about the local receipts, last year we budgeted around $1 million-ish.
And I will
And-
provide you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
a sheet. I apologize for not having it.
That's okay. So last year we budgeted around $1 million-ish, but we got $3.5 million in free cash, which means we were probably under by $2 million.
A lot.
Yeah, so I'm very comfortable with the 2.9 million being a realistic number, and that next year we will have enough free cash, but not swimming in free cash. We won't
Right.
have an embarrassment of riches. Yeah,
And I think what's important too is, as you pointed out, is that, fundamentally shifting a little bit to be able to be good stewards, not only around our finances and resources, but also to our operation. So we can't save so much that we limit the ability for us to operate and vice versa. So I think what we're trying to do this year is blend that balance of those two priorities. And I think that doing so by sort of raising the or moving the mark a little bit on the local receipt and the revenue side allows us to do a little bit more with the operation.
Yes.
Yeah.
The important point here is investing in the future, right? So, funding the HR positions is an investment. The DPW worker is an investment. The savings that will generate from that investment today is going to reap rewards as soon as next year,
Yeah.
right?
If we can get the hours under control,
Yep.
if they need to be brought under control, if we can get the health insurance renegotiated, if it can be renegotiated to save money, there's a lot of
At
options.
least we can
Yeah.
try,
Yeah,
The opt-out
So-
program,
yeah.
huh?
I said the insurance opt-out program,
Yeah,
maybe.
there's
There's a
different
lot of things.
avenues.
There's all sorts of different things we can look
To
at.
save
Yeah.
funds. So just the last thing I want to touch upon is just, just to highlight some of the cost drivers that have, again, made this year a little challenging. Of course, the one we mentioned was, from the revenue side, was the fact that our new growth is diminishing a bit. But on the expense side, the health insurance going up 11%, the pension assessment going up roughly 11%, additional students at Tri-County, that's driven those costs up. So those are all things that, are unusually high. I think, Karen, you had said that we have the highest increase in students at Tri-County this year than any other town in
Many
the
of the
district.
towns, yeah.
So,
Shocking.
we won the brass ring on that this year. Not something we want to repeat on a
Yeah.
regular basis. We encourage, kids to follow their dreams and go where they feel they need to go. But that followed a number of years where it did drop. So, not a total shock that it'll have a bounce at some point. But all these things together do have an impact and make it a little more of a struggle to be able to maintain just level services, and maybe, add one person or whatever. It's a challenge, but, and I just want to thank the finance director for her hard work. This is the first full cycle here on the budget, and it's been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd agree. And the fact that we've, in the midst of this, we successfully negotiated all 5 collective bargaining agreements, and, be able to price them out and manage that and be able to fund that successfully. It's been a lot of work this winter and the spring, so just want to thank her for all her efforts, and it's been a journey.
Yeah. There was one other item I had requested we look at on the
Yes.
budget, which was moving the benefits line, the employee benefits, splitting that between municipal, so what is it?
Primarily the health insurance,
Health
right?
insurance, yeah. Primarily, so whatever that's sitting at, $6-8 million, and let's call it 6, I can do it in my head. So maybe 3 million stays back in the town side or 2 million stays in the town side, 4 million moves to the school side, but putting that into the budget so that they feel the impact of making a decision to hire benefit-eligible people instead of hiring at 19 hours, hiring at 20, 21 hours. So if that change can be finalized in this budget presentation, I know you probably haven't had time to it, that's just a
Yeah.
reallocation.
Pretty quick math.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
I
that you've
mean,
got a number.
To be
Yeah.
honest, I think there are pros and cons to doing so,
Yeah.
and I do understand fundamentally the reason for doing it, and I think we can maybe accomplish that in a different way. But, point taken, I think we can talk about that at more length if you'd like. But keeping the benefits in one place allows for, I don't want to say, minimizing any excess that would be in that account versus having excess in 2 places, if
Yep.
you will. Accounting, and what I mean by that is, if we budget for what's on the books today, but then add a few more plans in there, like family plan,
Yeah.
individual plans, if you will, and if we're doing that, and then the school's doing that, now we almost have, it's like double extra in both places, which is okay. But the HR director and the role of that person, I would imagine that there would be some type of, I don't want to say approval process, but maybe an approval process for hires on either side to
Yeah.
be able to say, okay, benefit eligible, we've met this, and this criteria, or there's a reason. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
happy
see
to
there's
do
a couple
either way.
sides with that. I would
Yep.
almost see that whatever the health insurance benefit is produced by the HR director and finance in partnership.
Right.
And then it's just allocated each year. So
Right.
that eliminates
I know
that
what
double
you're-
dipping.
Exactly.
So I think there is something to be said for putting that number
Yep.
in their budget so they see it. We've tried to explain it, and the comment honestly has come back. Health insurance doesn't come out of the school budget. Well, it impacts the
does,
school budget,
yeah.
and now it will. And we've tried for years to try to get it under control. I think the HR director and moving the money over to that so it shows up will drive that point home and hopefully cause some ownership to occur.
Can certainly look at doing that.
I just wanted to say a couple things. First, I wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work, and thank you, Mike, as well, and Karen. You know, all of you worked as a great team to get all this together and ready for us. I do just want, and I want to say that you did a great job including all the things that we got wrapped up in here, because that's a lot. I do just want to acknowledge that the chief of police asked for 3 officers, and we are giving him 0. So just something that we should very strongly consider in the future, to get him back up. What else did I want to say? Oh, and I'm wondering, the insurance topic, I'm wondering if there's an aspect of that in terms of hiring somebody at 20 hours, like to get marketable people that want to actually come work here.
Well, then I would say that's addressed through a better salary, because when your benefits are going up 11, 12% a year, salaries don't. So I mean, even if you could adjust pay scales to get it more attractive,
Okay, yeah, that's
then you're
fair.
not looking at 11, 12% increases each year on top of that for the benefit side.
Okay,
And in a lot of cases, the salaries are probably less than the benefits for a family plan that we're hiring for, so, or near, you know? So I think that, I understand what you're saying, but using benefits to attract somebody is far more expensive than using a fair, decent wage scale to attract somebody.
okay, that's good, thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I will, I do agree that, you know, there's no question, there's a need for additional officers in the police department. I've had some discussions with the chief, and I know certainly he's a little frustrated, and I appreciate that. And I think we do need to refocus on those needs as well moving forward. The work here is not done. It just unfortunately was not possible within the scope of our current financial constraints. And it's not something that we should forget about, and we need to continue to focus on ways to, make that department grow accordingly. The chief did a great job in his presentations, both here and with the finance committee, showing the increased workload based on call volume. A lot of the new growth in the community over the past 5 or 6 years has been over 55. That in of itself puts more strain on the public safety departments really than most other departments. So we do have to refocus on that and see if we can find avenues to address that moving forward. So that's the discussion I've had with the chief, and I think we should, set up some strategy meetings moving forward to see how we can accomplish that, between now and the next budget season.
Yeah, that would be an item that I'd look hard at next year, because I think hopefully the HR positions save enough money that we have offsets in the other areas, and that would start freeing up money, but we have to do something different to address the cost of benefits.
What do you got, Joyce?
I respect what you've all said about the position with the HR, and I respect what you're saying about the police. I would urge the town or you folks to find the money for a police officer come fall, only because when does it get to the point where the safety of our people isn't as important? I know we're trying to cut budgets, and we're trying to find where money can be found, and jobs eliminated, or budget, insurance being eliminated or added, and all that with the HR. But our chief's been asking, I can't remember when he hasn't asked for another officer, and every time he comes here, it's, he presents, and bless his heart, I don't know that I want to be the chief anymore at this point, because it's like, he's pounding his head against the wall, making these requests, And I see it on my own street, the increase between fire and police, constantly the demands on them. So, as I respect you saying that you need the HR, I don't know how the HR position got put in front of the request of 3 police officers that our chief's been asking for so long. That's, it troubles me.
Yeah, and I guess there's items that we're privy to in this committee that we can't go into detail about, but we are in dire need of an HR director. And as I mentioned at Finance Committee, one sideways HR issue, and we've had a few of them that haven't gone sideways, thank goodness, could cost us far more than this 218 or whatever the total is for these positions. Or this money can be saved elsewhere. This is a step to protect us, and I think the chief even would agree with a lot of this. I know the schools would agree with it. There's a lot that goes on that we need protection from in this $40 million corporation that we're running, and we don't have that now. So, and I wish I could go into
This is-
detail, but we
you
can't.
Joyce, this is a 45 million.
Yeah. My
45
word's 40,
million
that's right.
gross-making business, and we don't have a full-time HR director. How many employees do we have between us and the school?
Over 400.
400?
Over
400 employees, Joyce. We don't have a full-time HR director.
Yeah.
It should be illegal.
The other thing to
We're fixing
mention,
it.
and I don't discredit anything that anyone's saying, I think this budget year too, one of the unique challenges is being able to balance a proportionate amount of increase to both the school and the town. And by the HR position doesn't affect the proportion given to the town or to the school by the 6% that we did. It's above and beyond that. Adding any officers or name another position, any position beyond the DPW worker, would give the town a disproportionate amount than the school. And so we had to keep that in balance as well. So it was the opinion of the board and the town administrator, and I take all of that input as to what the priorities were to be able to fund. So looking at all of the available resources financially, and then understanding what are shared resources, et cetera, adding any more than a DPW director and the small amount of hours that we
DPW
did.
laborer.
Sorry, I said
Laborer.
director, HR director, the DPW laborer, adding anything more than that to the town side of the budget would create disproportionate percentage increases for the town and the school. So again, we had to factor all of that in.
And even putting aside the proportionality,
point.
we only have X amount of dollars. If we were to put, 200,000 more into the municipal side, not the school side, they'd be making cuts again. So this got us to a point where there were no teachers cut, no educators cut, no support staff cut, in theory. This is the number they gave us. And we were able, on top of that, to add the laborer to the municipal budget. So if we had to go deeper into it for 3 police officers, which is between $250,000 and $300,000, I think.
It's 270, I think,
270?
for 3.
Between, okay.
Well, that's
So,
without benefits, but,
I think if
oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
get your point, one. But again, the proportionality still bakes in a very large increase in the budget that
Joyce,
we
we're
just
gonna
couldn't
get there.
swing.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there. It's. it
I just
really-
wanted to make it clear that it wasn't an HR department or
Right.
police officers, and we chose HR.
Right.
Like, it was,
Yeah.
those were not two equal requests.
And I think that's a good point, Jody, is that people are kind of pitting one against the other. That is not how the decisions are made.
But see, now explaining that, though, and having people hear that, and what you've just said, makes a huge difference, because there's no speculation.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you guys know what you're talking about and what your conversations are. Well, you pretend. But it's nice for the people who aren't here or are watching at home to have a little bit deeper explanation so that they understand why the decisions have been made the way they've been made. So thank you.
Good one,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And, okay,
we got?
I'm just gonna say, I think that solves it pretty much, unless anybody's got any other questions on it.
I'm done with
I
questions.
like it.
I like it.
I can make motions.
I think that's
Motions would be great.
No, but I'm going to make one.
I'll listen, and I'll second if I like it.
Yeah, well, first you have to close the warrant, right? if you're done with it.
Well, you're going to make a motion on what you're doing with the
Oh, yeah,
articles
to
in
make
the
a change to
warrant?
the article,
Yeah.
Right.
sorry.
So,
So the first, and we haven't prepared any motions for you, so.
That's fine.
So the first
I can
item
wing it.
is to,
We weren't
is
sure.
to basically add the
Replace
two
Article 10.
articles. An
Okay.
article, well, you're adding the two articles, but one of the two is different than the one I had originally,
Yes,
had
okay.
originally in there.
yep.
Take a stab.
So I move that we add 2 articles to the spring 2025 town meeting warrant. One to add an account for tri-county debt, and one for unanticipated repairs to municipal and school buildings.
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Thanks.
Does she need to give them numbers or no?
No.
No.
Okay.
Do you want a
Second?
second?
I will second that we add the two articles as mentioned.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
I'm
All
sorry,
those
do we have to vote to fund the tri-county debt for 250, or is that something you'll just plug in?
Yeah,
I'll-
you
I'll-
can,
I'll amend the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, to fund tri-county debt for
250,
250,000.
okay. Mhm.
And-
plus the
and-
other amount, plus the 340.
Plus the 340,
This is where we get in the weeds, Craig.
343,
075.
075.
But that's not part of the,
It would, it will be.
It would be.
So
It'll
it's
go in there.
343,075 plus 250.
there you go.
Just make it
Okay.
legal.
593,075.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Perfect.
I move that the select board endorse the 21 articles on the spring 2025 town meeting warrant.
Second.
You're on fire tonight. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Do I have to make a separate motion to accept the budget if we just accepted all the warrant
I
articles?
don't believe, well,
Why don't
yes,
we?
yes, there should be a
Okay.
motion
But you
to
should close,
accept,
close the warrant
close
first.
the vote to close the
Okay.
warrant.
I move that we close the May 5th, 2020.
They
We got
just
that.
endorsed it.
We already did.
They do.
We changed that already.
We already
Yeah.
changed it.
Oh, you didn't have to say that?
We
I already
did say
did.
They
that.
did say that. Where was Joyce?
You're filing your nails, Joyce. What can I tell you?
She missed that.
All right, I move that we close the May 5th, 2025 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
All right.
I move that we recommend
The,
the fiscal year 26 town budget
as recommended by the town administrator.
as recommended by the town
With
administrator,
6%.
with 6% allocated
Let's
for
make it as
both
clear
the
as
town and
possible.
school
School.
side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Anything else?
That's it.
I think,
One more.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
oh my God, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.